Welcome to the Power of Integrity podcast. I'm Ralph Adamo, your host, and today I'm delighted to have Bonni Pomush of Working Wardrobes, Orange County, nonprofit, doing wonderful work. Bonni, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ralph. It's such a joy to be with you today.
Likewise. I would love, as I always ask every one of our guests, to kind of take us down memory lane a little bit in the journey you've experienced to date, professionally and personally, and what's brought you to work in wardrobes, and tell us a little bit about that mission and that vision.
Oh, I would love to, Ralph. Working Wardrobes is an incredible highlight of the services that we have in Southern California to literally help uplift people on their employment journeys. The name, I think, doesn't exactly do justice to everything that we do. We tailor individualized employment plans for over 5,000 individuals each year. And I think about these employment plans as a roadmap. They're a navigation system. You start with where you're at, you identify the coordinates of where you're headed, and then we help you literally get there step by step. Many times it is first learning how to promote your own assets in a resume and an interview, etc. And next is identifying what is the skill gap. Do you need a certification or soft skills training or a combination of factors to help close that sort of operating system update so that then our niche service, which is wardrobing, we literally one-on-one style, personalized styling is provided to prepare our clients for the interview. And that that finishing touch, the packaging that is updated to match that interior packaging update and system update is that first moment where we really see our clients look in the mirror and everything that they've been working toward and preparing to create a brighter future with is now literally palpable. They can see it in the mirror what is possible. That's about 15% of what we do. 85% is all the stuff you don't get to see. But it's an incredible opportunity to help people overcome all sorts of barriers so that they can achieve gainful employment. And that opportunity organizationally has been a really strong draw for me individually. I have spent my career literally helping people be better versions of themselves my entire career. And that's by leading teams and really harnessing the power of individuals to collectively cohese around a particular goal or objective and achieve it. So, my opportunity here at Working Wardrobes is an extension really of just who I am and getting to do it with an agency that is able to create this kind of impact on scale.
Yes, well, Bonnie, thank you for that. As the CEO at Working Wardrobes, can you tell us a little about the history,
Mhm.
when it was founded, how some of that, and how many constituents you've actually have served? I know it's in the hundreds, if not thousands.
You're right, actually, Ralph. This is our 35th year of service to the community. We began in 1990. And I think it's suiting that in our 35th year of service, we will reach our 135,000th client this year. I know, right? Walking into the year, we have reached over 132,000, but I love that synergy. We were started in 1990 by a human, just a person like you or me, Ralph, who decided that they wanted to make a difference in the world. And Jerry Rosen, our founder, really wanted to create an opportunity for women who had experienced domestic violence and were living in shelters. She wanted to give them a day. She dreamt of a day of self esteem, a day of just feeling more confident and capable. And so what do you do when you have a big idea like that, right? You call your friends and you start gathering the hairstylists and the makeup artists and the clothes and the purses and all the things. And they brought together 67 women from six different shelters and they created this inaugural day of self esteem. And they were absolutely successful in preparing these women to feel more confident and look more capable. And very organically from that experience, the workforce development focus was born because there was this huge opportunity then to prepare these women for the workforce. Many of them had a gap in employment that they needed to either be able to explain in an interview or to be able to also capture the assets that they had to promote during that period of time. And then organically, starting out with just serving women the first few years, just a few years later, added services for men, a few years later for working age youth, a few years later for people involved in the justice system or impacted by justice system involvement, a few years later, targeting services for military. And so since 1990, we have continued to grow and expand our ability to serve different populations, all people that are literally facing any sort of circumstantial or systemic barrier challenge, to help them really help themselves for a lifetime of success through gainful employment.
It's wonderful and wonderful work, and I'm so glad that Jerry's name came up. I had known Jerry for a number of years, and I spent a lot of time around the nonprofit community and getting to know folks. And she's really one of those dynamo leaders for sure, and she's left a great legacy
Absolutely.
of yeah, and with good people that have taken up that challenge and continue it today, doing wonderful work there. But when in doing wonderful work, there's got to be some sense of integrity in how you're doing that. So I'm curious, when you think about integrity, what does it mean to you?
Integrity to me is really two major components. One major component is doing the right thing. I think that's obvious. But the major component that I focus a bit more on is building things to last, structural integrity. When we do it right, it will be built to last. And so at Working Wardrobes, we work really hard to create integrity in humans, right? To build the soft skills and the adaptability, the way that you can transfer between occupations, industries. We are building people to last. And organizationally, and I'm going to build a bridge right back to Jerry for a second, building the organization to last so that we can effectively create those kinds of transformations that last a lifetime. In 2020, the organization, just like all organizations, right, we all face the pain of the pandemic. But 6 weeks prior to the pandemic shutdowns, Working Wardrobes faced a huge challenge as an organization. Our founder, Jerry, was still running the organization as its CEO in its 30th year of service to the community. And at that time, it was beginning to, anniversary celebrations, as you can imagine. And that was not what the universe had in store for Working Wardrobes. Instead, we lost absolutely everything to a decimating fire. It burnt down our headquarters, which housed both our donation center, where we accept clothing and accessory donations, as well as our career success center, where we serve clients. And together, I think I often kind of put myself in Jerry's shoes for a moment, thinking this through because I think she was age 75, had been running the organization for 30 years, and here losing absolutely everything. I wonder if I wouldn't just say, "Okay, it's been good. We're all done now." And no, talk about integrity. Jerry, I think really the community rallied, and their response to Jerry was, we must absolutely rebuild Working Wardrobes, and we can do it. We will help build her to last. And really institutionally, it was ready for, that kind of transformation. And so Jerry really then, before even facing the pandemic, faced the how do we rebuild Working Wardrobes with integrity? How do we bring it back to life? And so now we have two separate facilities. Our warehouse is in Irvine, just off of MacArthur and the 405. And then our Career Success Center, where we serve clients, is just off of the 55 and McFadden and Santa Ana. An example, though, of how it could have been done and over with, but no, she built it to last not once but twice.
Hmm. Wonderful and wonderful people that are taking up that mantle and carrying it forward, like yourself.
Thank
It's
you.
yeah, doing wonderful work there. Bonnie, what you have folks under your tutelage there that not just your constituents you serve, but those that are employed at Working Wardrobes. How does integrity play a role in your world with those employees in terms of creating productive, happy, enlightened, and those that are ready to go to work every day helping others? Uh, Tell us a little bit about that story and that narrative that goes through your mind every day when you come into work.
It's interesting because I think that it's almost like a magnet where people are attracted to this mission and this organization, like you said, whatever stakeholder group you might identify yourself as. And sometimes that can be also a cyclical thing, right? We've had many clients who have come back, many years later to work with us. We have many volunteers who have become employees. We have employees who have become volunteers. Like, it doesn't matter literally what the relationship is. I think that it is really housed, if you will, in our core values. We have four core values, one of which is integrity, and we define our core values not only by what they are, but by who we are, how we show up, and who we invite in to be a part of this experience. We expect our core values to be demonstrated by all of our employees, of course, but we're actually hiring for those. We're looking for people that already have this in them, and that makes them a match automatically. They may value things in addition to our core values, but certainly these are what I would consider non negotiables. Our integrity core value is, as I shared the definition with you, right? That we do the right thing when no one's looking, and we build systems to last. Another one of our core values is that we are thoughtful relators, that we really take the time to understand who we are and who we are relating with, and then we flex our relatability, if you will, to that person. So if I know that you know, love to joke around, then I might be more, jocular with you versus someone who might feel more comfortable being like timid or quiet, then I can relate to them in a more, introverted way. Um, we also value, as one of our core values, grit. And we talk about grit not as the white knuckle, you can get through it kind of grit, but the sense of adventure, like mountain biking kind of grit, like hold on to your handlebars, but we're going for an adventure ride and we know where we're headed, but sometimes we are not going to see the peaks and valleys and, things we need to traverse along the way, but we know with conviction and faith that we will absolutely get there. We just don't exactly always know how. And our final core value that is we're all humble achievers. And that is to understand that we are all interdependent parts of a whole. We don't even see or acknowledge always those parts of the whole. But as humble achievers, we leave our egos at the door. We know that nothing happens at Working Wardrobes without all of the parts doing their part. And so that's true for our clients, for every stakeholder at Working Wardrobes. It really takes all of us. So that's really how we approach the world a little bit differently and how it involves integrity in every step of the way.
Well, I love that you call those you serve your clients. It tells me how close you hold them to you and what regard you hold them as
Mhm.
well. Yeah, really powerful stuff. I would normally ask, how in the for-profit world it makes perfect sense. How does integrity play a role with client loyalty? I mean, I'm willing to explore that with you, but I'm wondering if that question is just off base. But you are bright and articulate, so I have a feeling I'm going to get an answer that's going to be enjoyable.
Well, it's really about the cycle of employment for us, right? Like we don't look at our clients as a transaction, it's a relationship and it's a long term relationship. So I kind of mentioned before that some of our clients come back in different roles, but also many of our clients come back. I'll give you an example. Maybe a client starts and we work with them to get a job like at the IT help desk, and they think that, like, I'm really into customer service, I'm really into technology. Like, I think that this is exactly what I want to do. We help them get there. But then 2 years later, they come back and they say, I've been doing that job and I love that job, but I've been having my eye over there on that data analyst job. And I'd like to prepare for that role. Well, now we can start the next series of preparations to get them into that role. Another example is when our clients are ready to seek a promotion or ask for a salary increase. They can come back and share with us, okay, I need help, getting over this barrier. What do I do in this situation? We've had many clients who have maybe worked with us when they were transitioning out of the military, and then it's a decade later, and they're unemployed and having a hard time, or maybe underemployed and having a hard time getting back up on their feet. These are just examples of it matters how we treat people, and it obviously matters what results we get. And so each person for us is 100% of the person that we're dealing with and working with right now. So it matters greatly that we always, with integrity, approach that work, but to know that this is not a one time interaction. This is likely going to be a long term relationship.
Yes, absolutely. So well said. Bonnie, can you share a moment where the principle of integrity helped play a key role in your decision making process?
I think about this in a couple of ways, actually. One a little bit more personally, right? Like, what's in it for me? And I think that, like, oftentimes it's easier to talk about the business, but I think what's in it for me with integrity is building systems to last means that I can lean on the systems to lead instead of having to be a part of every decision. And when I've done a good job making sure that we've built the systems to last with integrity, that means that I'm less burnt out. I can take vacation time. I know, and I'm saying this sort of like the royal I, royal we, this is true at every layer and level in the organization. That if we build the systems, and the systems will do the work for us when we're not there. I was able to take an extended vacation at a certain point, not at Working Wardrobes, at my position before this, because I had done this for so long. For over 8 years, I had prepped the system to be just fine without me. Everything from rotating roles of facilitating leadership of meetings to having systems for approving events or making decisions. Right. So all of these things are a part of, I think, my personal and professional journey to build things to last. And it's also been a way that I share the power, that I don't hold on to things that has to be the CEO's decision, that I equip and empower my team to see and we agree upon, like, what are the criteria that would make that something that we would, stand behind. And by doing that over and over and over, we can think like each other, we can hear each other's, perspectives, and we can make good decisions with more voices than are actually at the table.
Yes, I was going to ask about how integrity plays a role in your leadership style. You pretty much gave me that narrative. Is there anything else you would add when I say how it plays a role in your leadership style?
I think I would, and I think I'm going to use another word for it, which is authenticity. I I think that when we show up as our true selves and we have integrity, as I mentioned, as a core value, then it's easy to just be me. I'm not trying to put on a pretense. I'm not nervous about having this conversation with you because I know myself and I know that I can share with you what my experience is. When we live with integrity and that is an authentic part of who we are, then it's easy to just show up as we are and to just be ourselves. And I also think it invites other people to do the same, right? When we see this unapologetically modeled for us, that here I am, like, I can be super high energy and that can be really exhausting for you. I'm sorry and I'm not sorry all at the same time, right? But I think that that's another piece of the puzzle, which is, as a leader, I am often inviting and reinviting people to only show up as you. We didn't hire the Ralph you're trying to be. We hired Ralph as you are. So please just be you as you show up here and in every place. And I think that that's an important invitation, especially in a time and age where we have all sorts of models to lean on and people to try to emulate, and instead it's a little bit more vulnerable and brave to be ourselves.
Yes, integrity and authenticity. I think that's the recipe for annihilating the imposter syndrome that many people are walking around with, right? It's not
That's a
the
big order there, Ralph. I mean,
yes, yeah,
the
go
imposter
ahead.
syndrome piece is difficult, right? Because I think that it's really about a worthiness, and like, if you can be authentic and have integrity, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have self-worth. And that imposter syndrome really, I think, sets in when we don't acknowledge that we have the right to be here because we're here. We are alive and here by virtue of that fact alone makes us worthy. But that is
Yeah.
really hard when you have all of this to to look out and compare yourself to,
Yes, 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 yes. That if we just stop comparing ourselves to others and realize how much value we have internally. And
right?
right? To me, authenticity screams out, just be who you are, show up as yourself, and that is enough, is what Whitman said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in.
What? No, go ahead.
I just said I'm in.
Oh, all right. Good, good, good. So, of course, somewhere along your professional journey or personal journey, someone on as the counterparty lacked integrity. Can you, without breaching any confidence, kind of share an example of what went on and how that turned out in the end?
Mhm. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is a colleague that, if I could, there's that really great quote like, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And this colleague really wanted to go fast and go alone. And I think also didn't really want to do the go together, go far because it was going to be a lot of work. And instead they did not share metrics transparently. It was not an accurate, transparent, timely interface, and so a lot of decisions kept being made without accurate data. And it worked great for this person, right? Because they just wanted it to work for a little while, not for the long game. And so that was a big test, and the response was that this is absolutely unacceptable. I mean, once it was clear what the what the data was, and that we were not making decisions based on data that we needed, then it was the long haul of how do we create the short term plan right now to fix it fast, but then at the same time build the tracks for a long term solution. And so we were able to do that, and then with accuracy, timeliness, and transparency, go to our stakeholders and say, this is the situation. This is how we're going to prevent this from happening again. For now, this is the plan for how to get us back on track. Will you help? And also, here's the long range plan of why this is a wise investment to make at this time, and how come you can count on us to make it right. And we all shared the disappointment for certain, but we also all shared the ownership for implementing a solution that would take us a lot further together.
Yes, yes. What would you say to our younger audience? Because you're teaching people of all ages. You said age appropriate teenagers, I think, or work. Uh, I don't remember exactly, but I know what you meant by it was those that are old enough to go to work. Some of them are your clients. And what are some of the key things that you share with them or your organization shares with them about markers for success?
Oh, I love this question, not only from a working wardrobes lens, but when in my life in Arizona, before I moved to California, I was a public school district administrator. And one of the things that we always focused most on was the delta. What is the delta in a student from, first semester to second semester? What is the growth? What is the change that has occurred? And with our clients, it's the same thing, but I also with employees, with my friends, with my family, right? It's never to me a question of measure other than measure to self. Where were you 6 months ago? Where are you now? Where were you 3 months ago? Where are you now? In examples, it might be that you've completed a certification program, you're making X dollars more per whatever, you're getting more commissions, like whatever your personal metrics and personal goals were. That's the delta to measure and focus on. I know that's in a bit of contrast to what I was saying before, but it's really the same, that we keep looking to other people for a comparison. And I'm a yogi, right? So just look at my mat. I cannot do a headstand. I am probably never going to be able to do a headstand, and I'm just fine about that. What's important to me is that I am still upright and I am more stable today than I was yesterday. I can hold this pose longer than I did 6 months ago. I couldn't even get my body into that shape 3 months ago. My point being that growth and comparing to oneself, over time is the most important success metric.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's great sage advice. Absolutely. What I've been asking more and more of our guests about something I've been trying to inspire in our community with our friends of the firm, our clients of our firm. What's on their bucket list? And I'm wondering what's on Bonnie's bucket list, one or two things that are important to her, whether you've written them down or articulate them out loud, or have always kept them to yourself. But what are one or two of those dreams that still you want to see accomplished or pursued?
Well, one of my dreams is to spend a solid 6 months traveling between here and Australia and not having a worry about time whatsoever, and to be able to quite literally go down under and explore the other end of this globe. I am so curious about Australia, New Zealand, that whole area, but then everything in between there and there. So that is definitely on my bucket list. Excuse me, it'll probably be the first thing that I do when I retire. And the other thing is pretty close to home and simple. Ralph, I cannot get enough time at the beach. I love to walk at the beach, read at the beach, sleep at the beach, eat at the beach, hang out at the beach, watch people at the beach. I just want to spend a lot of time enjoying those crashing waves and the beautiful sunshine. I love the calm that comes over me at the ocean, because I really get a sense of relief understanding for a moment how small I am. I think about it like the grains of sand that it takes up to create the beach, or how much water that I can see versus how much there is. And it really takes the pressure off. I love that feeling of grandiosity, when you travel to places. And I really get a regular fix of that here on our Southern California beaches.
Yes, 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 yes. Especially if you're not a Southern California native, I could see
Yeah,
how it would.
exactly.
One of the things, and it's scientifically appropriate, is that all the negative ions from those waves crashing are also making you feel at ease and peace. I don't know
I
if
do.
you.
I feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've been having a wonderful conversation here with Bonni Pomush of Working Wardrobes, the CEO there. She's taken us down a wonderful conversation and narrative. I am wondering if folks want to get in touch with you, Bonnie, what's the best way for them to do that?
Ralph, I'm so glad you asked, because there are so many ways that people can support other humans on their employment journeys through working wardrobes. First, check out our website, workingwardrobes.org. It's plural, workingwardrobes.org. Or you can always give us a call at 714-210-2460. There are ways that you can help that may not be obvious that I want to point out. The first is so simple, right? When you are done with your beautiful clothes, whether they are casual or professional wear, whether they're board shorts or formal dresses, the shoes, the accessories, the purses, the jewelry, the scarves, the ties, the you name it, please donate it clean on the hanger to Working Wardrobes. These articles of clothing amount to millions of items each year that stay out of landfills, but instead are repurposed to help people achieve self sustaining employment. Secondly, you might have a skill to contribute or time to share. If you've been in the HR field, for example, you might be a great person to coach our clients in helping them update their resumes or practicing their interview responses. If you maybe have a ton of experience in finance and you want to donate some of your time on our finance committee or helping with, Excel spreadsheets, we have plenty of those. If you like to, you get that sort of solace out of sorting, or doing quality control. We have tons of garments that need to be processed every day. We also are always seeking people who are passionate about fashion. If you are into styling, we need your help, because every day we have people who are having one on one appointments with a personal stylist to get that interview ready look. There are a slew of ways you can support Working Wardrobes. You can host a drive in your neighborhood or at your employment place, or just with your friends. You could have a private shopping party in one of our three stores called The Hanger. And that's a way to, raise friends and raise funds for an organization that's meaningful to you. We have a spring festival on March 22nd. You could join us at the soccer game. The festival admission includes the soccer game as well. It's only $10. And I mentioned that this year is our 35th anniversary. So our gala this year on September 20th will be celebrating 35 years of Working Wardrobes. It will be amazing, and you won't want to miss it. So stick it in your calendar, Ralph and listeners.
Wonderful. Well, Bonnie Pomush, CEO of Working Wardrobes, it's been a delight enjoying this last half hour with you. Thank you so much for coming on The Power of Integrity, podcast where leadership aligns with principles. And you've done a great job doing that at Work in Wardrobes and today with our audience for sure. Thank you so much, Bonni. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ralph.
The information presented in this program is provided for informational purposes only. The information is believed to be reliable, but no guarantee of accuracy is made or implied. Expressions of opinions are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult a legal or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. This information does not constitute a solicitation or an offer to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of capital. Ralph Adamo is registered with the securities and are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, 6451 North Federal Highway, Suite 1201, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33308. Telephone number 954-782-4771. Investment advisory services are offered through Kovac Advisors Inc. Integrity Wealth Management is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc.